Metro Core 3 Volume 8. And unusually we're starting off the show with a simulation game. In fact, a simulation game on Metro Core, and it's quite rare. This is The Tower. Now Nintendo DS owners may think this was some new game for their DS, but to be honest, it's been around since the mid-90s. Originally on the PC, then converted to the Sega Saturn. Also came out on the PlayStation and the Game Boy. But today we're going to look at the Sega Saturn version, since that was the first original console version. Now, as you can guess from watching the introduction, basically it's just a tower simulation. You build a tower, you maintain the tower, you keep the residents happy, you make a lot of money. Quite simple really, but the game does get quite complicated. And unfortunately the Sega Saturn version is in Japanese only. So first thing you do when you start up the tower is decide whereabouts you're going to build your tower. So first you've only got a choice of downtown, office district, or next to the airport. I'm going to go next to the airport. So we'll give our tower the name of dash dash dash. Okay, so first thing you got to do is build the lobby. Now the lobby can be as long as you want, it doesn't really matter. And after the lobby is ready, it's time to start building the second floor, or the first floor if you're from the UK or Australia. So you put the first floor up, the second floor, and so on. Now when you first start the game, you don't really have that much choice. Basically you've got restaurants, coffee shops, residential areas, and office space. But the more you play the game, the more different floors, the more variety you get to choose from. And you can actually make shopping malls and everything. It's quite a complex game. So once we've got all our floors ready, the next thing to do is stick some elevators in there so people can get access to the floors. And of course, you get to spy on what's going on in your tower. At the moment, not a lot's going on because the tower's newly built. At least I've got some people moving in. So at first the game does seem a little bit basic, but the more you build and the more complicated the tower becomes, the more involved in the game you do actually get. Now we all know that the Chinese love to make fake shit. They make it, they say it's real, we know it's fake, it looks fucking fake, but they say it's an original item. In fact, I think the whole economy of China is built up on making fake shit. But sometimes they will make something original, especially in the games world. And these are known as Hong Kong originals, even though a lot of them come from China, Taiwan I should say, because Hong Kong is in China. And sometimes these games can be pretty good, but most of the time they're a sack of crap. Just like anything original that comes out of China, because it's not copied of anything, it's shit and a half-assed effort. And what's even better is they make the original and then somebody will come along and make a copy of that. They've got no shame, have they? They'll copy their own country's stuff. Yep, these are in fact the same game. Yeah, you wouldn't think so, would you? But they are. Yes, completely original game. Well, I say completely original. In fact, it does steal a lot of sound from Golden Axe and a few graphical assets as well. So it's not exactly original. And both of them are the same game. But I think that this cover is a joke. God knows where they got the artwork from. It looks something like Twinkle Tail from the Sega Mega Drive game. I don't know where. Oh, well. No, it's not from Twinkle Tail, because Twinkle Tail doesn't feature some bald-headed coot in it. But God knows where that art came from, but it's not the original art. But what do you expect? Throw it that way. This is the original art, but unfortunately, this isn't the original cartridge. No, even this one is a bloody copy. They have no shame whatsoever. And if you look close enough, for some reason it says Zonga Drive on it. What the hell a Zonga Drive is, I do not know. And the quality of the cartridge is pure crap. Shit. So I'll just throw that away. And I made my very own version. You know, if they're going to rip each other off, why can't I do it? Now this is my original casing, my original art box. And I must say, it looks pretty nifty. Can you get it in the frame? Yes, I can. Okay. And open it up. And we have the cartridge in here. Yep. I think it looks a lot better than the original. It looks pretty nifty, doesn't it? And mine actually says Mega Drive cartridge on it, not Zonga Drive cartridge. And I've even done the back. Lovely. And just in case you're wondering what the game's called, that's the title of it in English. And no, I can't pronounce it because I don't speak Chinese. Okay, so let's see what this game is like. Into the old Mega Drive it goes, and power on. Well, we'll just skip the intro because it does sort of drag on for quite a while and it's not very interesting. So straight away you can see you got 3 characters to choose from. Quite like the woman character myself, but the first guy is a lot easier to play the game as. So in between each stage you get these lovely little cutscenes. Well, when I say lovely, they're not too bad. You can actually speed up the rating as well so they go a bit faster, but you can't actually skip the cutscene altogether. Fuck. It is actually an original looking game. Well, like I said, you gotta take original and the word China as lightly as possible. Because in fact, the sound effects are not from Golden Axe as I mentioned before, they're actually from Streets of Rage. And a lot of the enemy patterns, the movements of the enemies are also from Streets of Rage. And the actual enemies are from Streets of Rage but just redrawn. But unlike Streets of Rage, we do have these lovely magic effects, and there are actually 4 in total to collect. One being fire, which you just saw there, and also did you notice when the people went on fire, they were actually the burnt corpses from Street Fighter. Oh yeah, they ripped graphics out of Street Fighter. So as I was saying, yeah, you got the fire, you got earth where boulders come down from the sky, you got lightning, and you got ice. And I must say the magical effects are quite impressive. In fact, they do look a lot better than the magic effects on, say, the likes of Golden Axe. Okay, you can see the fat guy there. He's ripped off the fat guy from Streets of Rage. And the female characters, which look a bit like Simon Belmont from Castlevania, are actually the female characters from Streets of Rage as well, just redrawn. When these guys turn into ice, you'll notice those ice corpses are actually from Vampire Savior or Vampire Hunter on the Sega Saturn. Yep, when Sasquatch or whatever he's called turns you into ice, that's what you turn into. Jeez man, they ripped the graphics from anything. Also the sound engine is ripped from Data East. I'm pretty sure it's from the game Captain Havoc. Can't remember the other name for that game. I'm sure it goes under 2 different names, but anyway, yeah, the sound engine is ripped out of a Data East game. But enough slagging this game off. I must apologise about the strange graphical effect there. That's my Mega Drive going apeshit. Gotta get a new Mega Drive. But anyway, yeah, this game does play quite well. you can't really complain, to be honest. Okay, sure enough, the animation is a little bit dodgy, and your character could do with a bit of a wider reach. But for a Chinese game, it's quite impressive, even if a lot of it is ripped off. You know, gameplay wise, it is quite good, and there's enough characters on screen to keep you very happy, and it's 2 players simultaneous. So if you've got a mate around, get them to join in the fun. One of the more hard to find Chinese releases, and probably one of the best Chinese releases out there. Oh, fuck. Bloody cheap Chinese shit. So a few volumes back on RetroCore, we featured the lovely Clockwork Knight double pack, Japanese exclusive release, and I showed you a little cheat on how to play as Ginger. Now, some very knowledgeable Dreamcast and Sega Saturn expert told me that this cheat didn't work, or more likely, he couldn't do it. So here it is again to prove that it does work. You go to this blue box here and you push up, up, down, down, left, right, LR, LR. Go back to the blue box and you'll be able to play as Ginger. Not only in the boss mode, but also in the regular game. And to prove that it does work, I'll even show you it working now. Okay, so here we go, fighting the TV boss as, holy shit, Ginger. And to prove that this is not just edited into the boss attack mode, here he is in the actual game. So remember this, complainers, why the hell would I post a cheat that didn't exist? Think about that. Next time, try and do the cheat properly before you start complaining, okay? Exciting race? More like exciting free-for-all. Back in the late 90s and the mid 90s, in fact the whole of the 90s, the arcades were dominated by racing games. There were loads of them, and most of them were pretty samey, but this one from Taito America is completely nuts. There's not many racing games out there that consist of 4x4 trucks. But then again, in the 90s and the late 80s, come to think of it, Bigfoot was all the rage. In fact, the truck Bigfoot was so popular, I think all whopping 4x4s were known as Bigfoot. At least in the UK they were. So the aim of the game is pretty simple, just race to the end of the race and be fast. Quite simple really. And to be completely honest, this mode doesn't actually have that much to shout about. It's just a racing game, and not a particularly great one at that. But where this game does shine is the next mode. Now we all know Bigfoot trucks like to drive over things, or I should say monster trucks like to drive over things and just squash them to death. Well, you'd be happy to know that Taito have actually stuck that idea into this game. Yep, you can take part in the Monster Truck Demolition Derby. The main aim of this section of the game is just to destroy as many things as possible. Destroy more things than your opponents and you win the round. Of course, being an arcade game, it is pretty difficult, but it's designed to eat up all your money. But the opponent truck will always shoot off into the lead. But plan your moves well, and you will get ahead of him. Mindless destruction. And you're not confined to just the stadium. You actually get to go out onto the open road. Nothing better than running over cars coming ahead of you. Unlucky for the poor buggers inside, mind you. Well, it looks like I lost. That's the shite of the week. Don't you just love the old classic CG introductions? I don't. They were shit. Yeah, fly around the city. Oh, fucking hell. Right, we'll give it at that. This is the Yellow Brick Road, in other words, the Wizard of Oz, for the Sega Saturn. And basically, it's a point-and-click adventure, but with one major flaw. It's shit. Main point here. We've got a building over there in the background. I'd like to click on it, but no, you can't go there. You've got to follow the road all the way around to the bloody building. Why? Okay, once you get into the building, you meet this tosser. Now, usually Japanese are well known for good voice acting. That is pathetic. Basically, the wanker says, "Where are you from? What are you doing here?" So you do a little flashback to Kansas. I guess in this scene you're actually meant to be telling the Tin Man where you're from. Yeah, it really is that slow. The reaction between pressing the button and actually seeing any change on the screen is just appalling. It's way too slow. Come on. Mind you, we'll give it one bonus point. They've actually kept the silver slippers. In the movies, they used ruby slippers, but in the actual original book, it was silver slippers. Anyway, once you've told the Tin Man why you are in Oz, you have to go find the lion. Now, the lion's only down the road. It takes like less than 30 seconds to reach him. And as you can see, he's a laughing stock. It turns out that these two badasses, or God knows what they are, have captured him. I do not remember these in the movie, or the book. Anyway, these two idiots come and interrogate you. You're not taking any of it, so you go and attack them. In what's got to be the most laughable RPG-style battle scene ever. It is pathetic. Mind you wouldn't be surprised to know that Acclaim released this in Japan. They might not have made it, but they certainly know how to release shit as well as make shit. Anyway, you're doing your battle, and then for some unknown reason, you can't tell why, you're suddenly attacked from out of nowhere, like now, and then you die. There's no stats, no indication, no energy bars, nothing. You haven't got a clue what's going on. Definitely a shite game. Now here's one which I only just came to notice. This is Cop 01 for the arcade, all the way back from 1985. Now, for its time, the graphics are quite decent, believe it or not. And just listen to that amazing chip music. Don't forget, this is 1985. Now, while I'm completely rubbish at the game, I just wanted to bring this game to your attention. It's fucking great, man. It's like pure classic arcade gaming, and it's rock solid. It really is hard. You just scroll from left to right, shooting everything in sight and dodging everything in sight. So hard, yet so satisfying. And there you go, one life and you're dead. Check it out if you get the chance. Cop 1. Better known as Growl in the United States, this is Runark for the Sega Mega Drive. Instantly you can see some sort of Indiana Jones theme going on there. Oh shit! Yep, hand grenade blows up in his face, but that doesn't bother our old Indiana Jones ripoff. He just picks up a rocket launcher and starts letting rip with it. Hey, there's no wall on that bar. Straight away you can see that the graphics are bloody awful. In fact, most of Taito's Mega Drive games have pretty shitty graphics, to be honest. Hey, stop it! Who do you think you are? I'm a man with a fucking grenade launcher, which has ran out of rockets. Why is that lion trying to eat the barrels? Now, unlike Indiana Jones, this guy doesn't really give a shit about humans. He's more interested in saving the animals. That's right. Now, if you think he's pretty nasty to these guys, whipping them with a whip, just wait till you see what he does to the poor women later on. Oh yeah. This guy's got his priorities completely wrong. Okay, it's alright to whip these women to death. I love this, watch this. He'll throw a hand grenade, and what you do when you throw a hand grenade, you get the fuck out the way. Not this guy. Just watch what he does. Hey, I think I'll jump on top of the hand grenade. And he doesn't bloody die. Now that is one tough son of a bitch. Did you see that? I was kneeing that poor woman in the face there. Grabs this one by the hair and throws it about. Jesus. Yep. Definitely got his priorities a bit on the messed up side. Now I've got to apologise for the graphical glitches on this stage. It's not actually the game, it's my Mega Drive's gone a bit crazy. And for some reason it's pulling off some sort of weird graphical glitches. There he goes, jumping on the hand grenade again. Now this bit is just completely nuts. You rescue this elephant from a ship, right? And then he follows you around and just rams the hell out of people, and they turn into what seems to be boulders and a couple of dismembered limbs. I haven't got a clue what's going on here. It's bloody nuts. Playability wise, Runark's not that good, to be honest. The collision detection's a bit iffy, and it is a bit on the dull side. Now there are loads of enemies on screen, up to 10 enemies on screen at once, but it just doesn't have that appeal, you know, what a beat'em up should have. And of course, the end level boss is a bloody alien. Why the hell alien wants to steal animals, I do not know. Wow, look at that, smack in the face and he blows up. Well, that's all we got time for on this week's Retro Core. Hope you enjoyed the show. and I'll see you next time.